Huge matchup coming up October 25th with Sebastian Fundora versus Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman is a huge puncher, and he's a guy that's has his back against the wall. He feels like he has what it takes against Sebastian Fundora to get the job done and go in there and give him a scare tactic to even stop him. I think the power that he has is similar to a guy like Brian Mendoza. And even in the past, I picked Brian Mendoza to beat Sebastian Fundora. This is before I was on YouTube. And Sebastian Fundora, he's the same guy that I picked to go beat Tim Tszyu twice. And I'm a bigger fan of Tim Tszyu. I've only picked against Sebastian Fundora one time, and that was against Brian Mendoza. And I think that Keith Thurman has all the qualities, same qualities that Brian Mendoza had when he fought him. When Brian Mendoza went in there, he was able to land that big right hand after I seen him film. I said, if he's able to land that big right hand, he'll give Sebastian Fundora a lot of trouble. And Keith Thurman has seen similar things. He said, some of my confidence comes from the fact that I know he's going through PTSD. All I got to do is awaken it. The moment I get him, boom, every cell in his body is going to say, warning, alert, alert, warning, heavy hitter, heavy hitter. What do we do? I'm just looking to put him back in that panic room and finish him off. So Keith Thurman feels like he has the power and the tools to knock out a guy like Sebastian Fundora. And people said that Sebastian Fundora has handled a lot of power in the past, but he still was dropped by Lubin in that fight late. I think it was in the 7th round. And also, he got stopped by Brian Mendoza, wasn't able to get up. But since then, Fundora's been chiseling at his old self, and he's actually like reborn, redefined himself, and now he's a totally different fighter. He's a much better fighter than he was recently. And Fundora feels like Keith Thurman is a better fighter than everybody he's fought in the past. He says that Keith Thurman is a Hall of Famer, and he gives Keith Thurman a lot of respect, a lot of respect. Keith Thurman goes on to say, I've never been stopped in competition from amateurs to pros. I know what it's like to take a big punch, be down on the knee, and he said he knows what it's like to take a big punch, be down on the knee, and not be able to stand back up. So Keith Thurman knows that Sebastian Fundora, if you hit him on the right spot, he might not be able to get up. And I would say, the guys that was able to drop Sebastian Fundora, they have similarities to Keith Thurman. Erickson Lubin and Brian Mendoza. I feel like Keith Thurman can do both of those styles easily. And that would give Sebastian Fundora a lot of trouble. They're around a similar size and height. Not too much different. Every guy that Sebastian Fundora has had trouble with is similar to Keith Thurman. This is why he knows this is a tough fight. He knows this is the toughest fight that he could possibly have right now. And we know that Sebastian Fundora is on a different level right now when it comes to age, power, size. He's a younger guy with youth, has a lot of skills. He's not going to wait around and just try to box and move and be on the back foot the whole fight. Now he's standing his ground. He's moving forward, being aggressive. He's not just boxing on the inside. And Keith Thurman feels like he can take advantage of all that. To say that Fundora has PTSD and that he's going to be able to, affect him in a lot of ways, I agree. He will be able to do that. He's going to have some capabilities of doing that from experience and also knowing the confidence of a guy who's been dropped and stopped before. A lot of guys have been stopped before. Manny Pacquiao, and Keith Thurman was not able to do anything with him. But Manny Pacquiao still had more experience than Keith Thurman. This is going to be a very tough fight. If Keith Thurman can go out here and upset Sebastian Fundora, man, this will be a lot of changes being made in boxing. We're talking about a guy at 154 being a champion who was basically, shut out of a lot of fights, according to the fans, not wanting to see him in certain fights, saying he wasn't participating and he didn't want to fight Earl Spence, which was definitely not the case. As we heard recently, that fight was supposed to happen, but Keith Thurman lost to Manny Pacquiao, and those plans got put to the side. But with this fight in Fundora, it's a huge test, man. But I like the confidence of Keith Thurman that he feels like Fundora still has issues with those knockouts and being able to take a big punch. That's something that he wants to try to test, and I feel like he needs to test it because he has the same similarities as other guys. And Lubin is a guy who's from Florida. Hopefully he's able to pick his brain or get some kind of sparring in with him. And Mendoza, maybe he can get some tips from him as well. He's a guy who's similar in size, and he has the same kind of capabilities. He's not a better boxer than Keith Thurman, but he's on the same level when it comes to power. Baron Mendoza has similar power to Keith Thurman and Eric Lubin as well. Both two guys who was able to drop Sebastian Fundora. So hopefully we can see these guys take advantage of each other's weakness. But I like the confidence that Keith Thurman has right now. He feels like he's in a driver's seat, even though he's a smaller guy, and he hasn't been getting stoppages lately like Eric Lubin or even Brian Mendoza. But he's able to do the same things they've done. I'm telling you, it's going to be a hard test for Fundora. And the way that they match up this style, I feel like it's going to be a huge test for him. But we'll see what's going on in the next couple of weeks. But October 25th, it's going to be a huge fight. We're going to see if Fundora still has PTSD from these knockouts. I'm telling you, the power that Mendoza put on him, it kind of shook him up. And he's not as aggressive as he was before. He's a little timid. So maybe that split second Keith Thurman can take advantage of. But that's all I got. Like and subscribe.